Brian Baldinger played 11 NFL seasons, including starting his career as a Dallas Cowboy. Also played with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Indy Colts. And you actually host a radio show these days in Philly, do you not?
I do that, yeah. Radio show, The Fanatic in Philadelphia. Do the morning show. Get up early, man.
So what's the rivalry from a Cowboy perspective? We know, but working in Philly, do they really hate the Cowboys that much?
Yeah, just be careful. You're wearing that, that Tony Romo jersey coming into, Lincoln Financial Field, man. Like, it's not going to be fun. Like, they're just going to give you a hard time. It's our biggest rival, Philadelphia. I had to basically turn in my Cowboy card to be able to work in Philadelphia.
Did you really?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I'll never, shy away from being a Cowboy because that was my first team, man. And I still have a farm in Texas, but. Yeah, in Philadelphia, man. It's not the Cowboys' biggest rival, but it's the Eagles' biggest rival.
What do they most resent about the Cowboys?
Like what everybody else resents about them. Like they just win and they're popular and everybody loves them or hates them, and they're just, they move the needle and, championships, of which the Eagles don't have any. So envy, just pure envy.
And, this weekend, of course, you got two ex-Cowboys with a chance to go in the Hall of Fame. But Jerry Jones has to be, if not public enemy number one. I mean, have to be if you're an Eagles fan. Would Jerry not be very popular there?
They respect Jerry a great deal.
Do they really?
They do. Yeah, they respect him as an owner and, building the stadium and carrying the torch and, the success he had early with Jimmy and, like all that, there's a great deal of respect for Jerry and probably a lot of envy that they have an owner that basically can supply you with all the materials you need to build a championship.
Brian, I got to ask you this. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't, but I think you know what's coming.
Yeah.
You got suspended by the NFL Network for something you said on the Fanatic about the Cowboys and the Eagles and Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
What exactly did you say?
Well, I was just there was no intent to actually ever hurt Ezekiel Elliott. But I just said, in that rivalry, that he was just having too much success too early. And he was too pretty. And, in the NFC East, they had asked me if I would just emulate an old coach, just in hyperbole, and in context. Just give a little speech about what you would say to fire up the Eagles to get ready for this Sunday night matchup with the Cowboys. And I just, in kind of building that up, like this is the head of the team right here. This is the guy that you got to stop. You got to welcome him to the NFC East and blah blah blah. And I went too far.
And did you?
And I was actually on my way to. It was a Friday morning. The game was Sunday night, and I was actually on my way to London to do stuff for the Redskins game over there. Redskins were playing Cincinnati, so I was on my way. And by the time I got to London, like whatever angry Cowboy fans were out there, they let me know about it.
So you basically suggested that the Eagles put a bounty on Zeke, right?
I used that word, which was incorrect, and it was it was just it would have been no. Really, what the intent was basically saying, let's bang him up a little bit. Let's just work him, just like you would. Like, look, this guy it's too easy. Like, let's stop it from being so easy for this guy. He's going to run away with the Russian title, and I had nothing but respect. I was pulling for the Cowboys to draft him. He was a game changer. I said, if you put Ezekiel Elliott in Washington, they'd win the East. Like, wherever you put him, they were going to win it. Like, he's just that good. He makes everybody better.
How good are the Cowboys right now? Do you think they're poised to be a Super Bowl team here next year, perhaps?
They should be here now. Like, you all watched that game against Green Bay. They got away from what made them so successful all year. Like, I thought they were going to run Ezekiel right at him, man, like they did up in Green Bay. And I thought they were going to take the same game plan. It didn't seem like they went away from it. So, but, I think that those two players, Dak and Ezekiel, they were phenomenal. From the moment they stepped on the field at the LA Coliseum in that preseason game against the Rams, they just played with unbelievable poise, like they'd been there for 10 years.
Yeah, it was a heck of a season. So where are the Eagles right now, in your opinion?
Well, they're way behind. I think they're pretty far behind. They got a young quarterback in Carson Wentz who's going to be a really good player, and he had moments where he was really good, but he lined up, played all 16. It's going to be a good rivalry, I think, with him and Dak, and over the years, for the next decade, I think those two are going to go at it pretty good. And they just got to build their team around him. The Cowboys are a better built team than the Eagles. They're a younger, more solid offensive line. They've got weapons on the outside. They got that running back. Eagles don't have those things.
The bounty thing, I know why Philly fans loved it so much, because Buddy did that to the Cowboys once upon a time. They still love Buddy Ryan in Philly.
They love Buddy. They love Buddy. They love Buddy because Buddy just, it wasn't a PC world, And if it was getting in that direction, Buddy didn't really much care. And he, like when there was a strike in '87, Buddy was all about his players. Like, we're not trying to win these games. This isn't the real players. And he got support of the city and the union and the people, and he built the #1 defense in all the NFL at that time, led by the great Reggie White. And it was just they just identified with it. They really did.
You played in a tougher era, perhaps, than the NFL. Earl Campbell said earlier this week in USA Today that the league's gotten too soft. What do you think? You played offensive line.
Yeah, well, it has. That has happened, and Earl's not wrong at all. But it also had to change. It had to change. It's I remember talking to Marty Schottenheimer a couple years ago, and Marty came out in 1965, and he worked out with Dick Butkus that whole year. They became good friends, and Dick Butkus was the most feared linebacker in the league. He ran a 5.40 40. Like, they're just bigger, stronger, faster. The collisions are harder. Like, Pete Carroll's done a great job with his teaching video about how to take the head out of the game, drive with the shoulder. I just think it's smart to try and change some of the techniques. There shouldn't be any spearing and head hunting. Like, that stuff should go away.
NFL Network's going to have you back. Your suspension was 6 months, right?
Yeah. I'll be back. I'll be back talking football and breaking down the Cowboys and the Eagles once again. I'll leave certain words and phrases out of my language.
Would you predict the Cowboys to be in the Super Bowl next year?
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong by predicting that. I think they're only going to get better. Like, I don't think this was a mirage this year. They have a good formula, and they've got really good young talent. And what Rod Marinelli's doing defensively, I mean, it's unbelievable what they're doing. I mean, that defensive line, they're 8 deep, and everybody plays. I mean, who had heard of David Irving before this year? And the way that they used the rotation up front, Tyrone Crawford and Jack Crawford, the whole group of guys. I mean, it's a good young group.
Brian, thanks a lot for joining us. Your Low T Center is one of our sponsors this year. What have they done for you?
Well, I tell you, it's really Mike Sisk is the owner, and what he's done is he's opened these centers all over the country. And for guys like myself that aren't quite the man we were 10 years ago or maybe 20 years ago, I can't speak for everybody here, but I'm not that guy. You just don't manufacture the same things anymore. And so just a simple blood test to be taken care of by your insurance right now can get your energy and everything else like up to par. And it's really a simple test, and it's all safe, secured by doctors, and the insurance takes care of it. And you can get all your energy back to where you want to be without drinking all of those diet Pepsis and energy drinks and everything else that's out there in the market.
You see what I've got here,
I see it.
Who's going to win Sunday?
I like that team in the Northeast. I like the way they do things. And it's no slight on Atlanta. I'm a big fan of what Matt Ryan and that whole group has done, Kyle Shanahan and Dan Quinn. Like, they put that thing together pretty quickly. And but I like that team in the Northeast.
Brian Baldinger with us here on Radio Row at Super Bowl 51. Buddy, we'll look forward to seeing you back on the NFL Network.
Thank
we really
you.
appreciate it.
I look forward to being back.
Don't forget, you got to sign our stuff here, too. Brian Baldinger with us here, and a great way to start out the hour.